So flat white has got a lot of different definitions, I would say, but my understanding of flat white is a ristretto with a little bit of milk and just literally maybe this much of foam. Alright, to get like this much of foam layer continuously, it's a very tricky job, but that's what a flat white I would define it as. Flat white is not when it's espresso, when it's longer, when you pull out an entire espresso shot. That's not a flat white. Flat white. You cannot have a flat white when it is super hot. That's not a definition of flat white, as per me. Alright, let's fight about that on the comment section. Then flat white cannot be in big chunks like a pitcher sort of thing. Have it concise, precise, have those volumetrics. Flat white cannot have a chicken box texture on that. It cannot be something which is bubbly, foamy, or has a big. It cannot be that. That's not a flat white that you're drinking. And one of the cafes that I saw, it was oily. That's not a flat white. That's somebody making a fool out of your money. So that's not flat white. So there are 7 variables when you think about making a flat white, right? Let's talk about the espresso in a flat white. So we always do a ristretto, right? A double ristretto. If let's say your espresso recipe is you're extracting like 36 ml hour or something like that. Ours keep varying because depending on the coffee and all. So we would pull out in this glass approximately like 18 to 22 ml. Somewhere in between 18 to 22 ml of the ristretto. Nice concentrated, less water, nice concentrated liquid. So pull that out. That's the espresso. For the milk in a flat white, I recommend and I prefer higher fat content milk. And when you take a higher fat content milk, your responsibility is to keep it really sweet, you know, because a higher temperature will really mess up that milk and it will be chalky, ashy, dry. So aerate it properly, make sure the temperature is like right over there. But for a flat white, try to use a higher fat content milk. Now, in a flat white, you know, like imagine a beer head. You know, beer has got a head, but once you sip it, the foam goes away and the beer comes in. That is exactly what you want in a flat white also. You don't want a beverage which is, you have a sip and the foam comes in, and in the next sip then you have your liquid. That's not what you want. So your foam has to be really like, I would say just take this as an example. This much should be the foam. That is actually a good way of doing it. So you cannot have a foam which is like super thick. It has to be nice, thin, and should not separate out. That's what it should be. Cappuccino is a little more foam. I would say it is 1.25 inches foam or maybe a little bit more. Plus a little higher temperature for cappuccino. Usually it goes on the service side of things. Flat white is a lower temperature and like a thinner layer of foam on top. Temperature. Now there are 2 things now. So there is right temperature, there is high temperature, and there is low temperature. Earlier the baristas used to make a mistake of making the milk at a very high temperature. Now the baristas have started making a mistake of making it super low temperature. There is nothing wrong in that. Nothing wrong in that. It is wrong when you do it too high, or it is okay if you do it too mild, because I have seen baristas serving at 40 degrees Celsius. Alright, 40 degrees Celsius, imagine. And that was a little too low for me. But that is what is happening these days. You're foaming it too, giving a temperature super low. So a proper temperature, I would say, for a flat white would be somewhere between a 50 and a 55 degrees Celsius, where you know you can still hold your pitcher, like you can still hold your pitcher nicely, like this. The moment you feel that you want to take it out, stop it. A little before that. That is one of the way of understanding. Like you can hold it and then that's the moment you just stop steaming your milk. If you steam it too much temperature wise, it will start disintegrating with the espresso. It will be really bad. It will be watery. It'll start scalding. You will get a very ashy, bittery, chocolatey kind of a taste to it. The thing is, it's important to have the flat white ratios divided into 2 parts or 3 parts. Your espresso, milk and foam. ratio of espresso and milk and foam, of course, has to be in synergy. But your ristretto should also have a proper ratio, that is like please restrict it. Don't just call it a ristretto. Please restrict it to like 1:1. Taking 20 grams in, pull out only 20 ml out. Alright, you're taking 80 grams in, only pull out 18 ml out. That is one ratio. So the ristretto to milk ratio, keep it somewhere between 1:6 and 1:8. Which means if you're taking like a 20 ml of ristretto, multiply that by 6, that is 120 ml, or multiply that by 8, that is 160 to the 60, 160. 120 to 160 ml should be the milk component, and then just a 10 ml foam on the top. Don't scoop it out and put the foam on top like 10 ml. It should be like a composition together. So that is what is working out really well for us. First of all, if you use too much milk, you make it a latte, and there's no point of what efforts you put in for the flat white. If you're using too less milk, it will turn out to be a cortado sort of a thing, which is like too less, depends on what is too less actually. Texturing. Texturing is very important, man. Extremely important. It should be really nice, silky, shiny. The aeration should be, everything should be like combining in your milk pitcher, you know. Like you should literally feel the milk bouncing like a shiny cotton candy kind of thing. That's how your texture should be. The milk should not be bubbly like chicken pox. Please give that coffee back which looks like chicken pox, please. Yeah, so I would say one thing I always do is when I take a flat white, I can put my spoon. I have the layer on top, but when I dip my spoon, you can easily see the foam pushing back, getting pushed back and coming back. So the foam should go back and come back sort of. Please put your heart in making coffee. In making good coffee, anybody can get skills, but when you're behind the bar, be happy about it. That's super important, because you're putting up a show, guys. You're putting up a show. I genuinely always think about that they are watching. They're here to watch the brewers in action. So you cannot be like, okay, coffee order nahi hai. So you cannot be that. Your body language has to be like, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. Be alive. Be active, and put your heart in making that coffee. For the love of flat white. Flat white is actually one beverage one milk beverage that I can have very easy, and anywhere in the world that you go, you can order that flat white. Of course, the definitions will keep changing, but these parameters, if you keep in mind, you can tell a barista also about this, that I want these things to be kept in mind. It's a beautiful beverage, man. It's a good creation. I would definitely give it to that.